Hello, good morning, and welcome to the pre-market show with me, Wally Yabua. Today, what we are going to do is first look at the indices. After that, we'll go through X, check some of the news portals, and see what is happening this morning. Bitcoin rose up to 118, just was yesterday around 2 a.m. Eastern. Yeah, so it's just a good one for investors in Bitcoin or even in the crypto because again, Ethereum also moved up to 3,000 yesterday. So it was all good for investors in the cryptocurrencies market. Again, yesterday we saw Nvidia breaking the ceiling, more than 4 trillion market cap. So it's all good for some of the stocks. The market is good. It's mostly today the S&P is up by 0.27%. Nasdaq is up pre-market 0.09%. Dow Jones is also up by 0.4%, but the volatility index is down. Yeah, it's down by 1%. If I year, it's 15.78 yards. So that is what currently we are seeing. What we want to do is because what I'm seeing today is the market is green from the indices, the indices like S&P, Nasdaq, and Dow Jones. They are all green, but individual stocks are very down because even yesterday Nvidia closed at green, but this morning, what I'm seeing, no, let me go back. What I'm seeing this morning, Nvidia is down. So I would want us to just look at that this morning. Let me start from Robinhood. Robinhood is down 1.36%. Robinhood is down, and AMD. AMD is down by 0.39%. Broadcom is down 0.53. So it closes yesterday was 275. This morning is 273 pre-market. Intel is also down by 0.76%, which is now trading at 23.64. Yesterday it was 23.82. Broadcom is also down 0.53%. It's now 273.93. Micron is also down by 0.59%. 0.59% this more pre-market. So mostly, most of the tech companies are down. But the challenge here I was thinking about is okay. So yesterday when Nvidia broke that ceiling, more than 4 trillion market cap, I was thinking, yeah, it's all like the markets, yeah, it went away with the market, right? So I was thinking it's going to push this market up. But I think one thing we should remember is so the type of demand and supply in this kind of individual stocks might be different from the the the, the demand in these aggregate in the indices, right? So sometimes we might not be always getting what we want from we might not be getting what we want from the individual stocks because that is what I was thinking initially that okay, so if Nvidia is breaking this ceiling, it might be pushing these kind of tech stocks or not, or because it really pushed the indices because S&P was up, Dow Jones was up, Nasdaq was up. It was green over there, but the individual stocks were down. So that is the differences we are having here. Sometimes individual stocks might be down. The demand won't be there. People will be selling it, will be selling their shares, right? And people will be taking profit. So sometimes it's understandable that yeah, the individual stocks will be down because of these kind of pressures, kind of demand and supply, and also people also selling some of their taking profits from their stock. So it's a bit understandable to that effect because mostly this morning AMD, what I'm seeing, AMD is down 0.51. Intel is down 0.76. Micron is also down 0.64. Nvidia Nvidia is down 0.56. Yesterday closed at 164.10. This morning is 163.18 pre-market. So yeah, that is mostly. Let me see TSM. TSM is also down. So mostly, I think the individual stock mostly are down. Most of the individual stock I'm seeing this morning is down. Let me see UNH. That's United Health. Yeah. So UNH is up. Yesterday was 299.51. This morning is 299.96. Let me see the CVS. CVS is down 0.18. Yesterday it was down. So this stock seems not to be moving. Seems not Himana it's also 0 point. So it's trading at 232 this morning. 0.18 yesterday 232, so we don't have any changes, any difference within that in this morning over there. So rocket lab is still down 1.05. Rocket lab is down 1.05. ASTS is down 0.64. Now let me use this one. Now Tesla is down by 0.33. Nvidia is down by 0.53. Apple is down by 0.57. So we have an article on Apple of which we want to discuss this morning because there is a big push for Apple CEO Tim Cook to step down. The pressure is so enormous that we don't know what's happening in Apple because for this year, Apple has been down, I think, 15%. So most of the analysts and also investors are pushing Tim Cook to step down. So I think we would want to go through one of the articles that I read yesterday. Of to me, I think it's an interesting one that we need to. But what I'm seeing this morning, Amazon is up by 0.41. So far, the Max 7, what I'm seeing is only, I think it's only Amazon which is up by 0.41%. That is what I'm seeing. Now, let's check Bitcoin. Let's check Bitcoin or the cryptocurrency market and see because from what happened this early morning, right? What happened early morning? It means Bitcoin is going to do so yesterday people were predicting that Bitcoin will be moving to 150. Some people were saying 145, 140. And from what happened early this morning, I would not be surprised if this happens, right? So this morning, Bitcoin Bitcoin is up 1.57. Now it's around 117, but early this morning was 118. So we had a pullback. So it's now trading at 117. So it's good for investing. I think yesterday in the morning it was around 111, and this morning we are getting. Oh no, let me go back. This morning we are getting 1.57%, which is not bad. And Ethereum, it was also in the early hours of this morning was around 3,000. And so in this pre-market at 641 central, it's 2,985. So yeah, it's good. Solana is 164.05, and Coin 50 is also 457, which is not bad. So that is what we are seeing. The market it's booming for cryptocurrencies, and it's good for some of the investors that mostly investing in cryptocurrencies because for crypto, because of this volatility in this, but still people see crypto bullish moving on. As of July 11, today, this morning, the market sentiment is very bullish for crypto, right? Because the rate at which um, retail investors are buying, and also the rate at which these institutions are buying, it's too enormous that definitely it will still go up. It's still bullish. So yes, and don't forget that people will still, because now we are at 117, people will be still be taking profit from this thing. Investors will be taking profit. So don't be surprised if Bitcoin comes down. Don't be surprised when Ethereum comes down. Don't be surprised when even Solana or even SRP come down, because or when they drop, because it's part of the game. When these markets, assuming let's say it's a stock, Apple goes up, Nvidia goes up, rise up to the occasion, people will be taking profit from it, and sometimes they would want to also wait for the dip and also buy. So it's how the system works. So definitely it's not going to be stable. It's going to come down because people will be taking profits. Investors will be taking profit from this, and also Ethereum. So we shouldn't be surprised when it's coming down. That's how it is. But for now, it is bullish sentiment that we are seeing. Now it's trading at pre-market 117K. Ethereum is trading at 2.9K this morning. So it is not a big surprise to me. This morning we don't have any earnings. We don't have any earnings. We don't have any earnings even today. I think it's Monday. We will have another bunch of earnings going on next week. That is what. So we will be bringing you some of the streaming, some of the update from the earnings sections as well. What we will do from here is just going back to some. Let's start with Apple. So this article was written by Madison Mills, and this the he wrote this in this July 10th. That was yesterday. Now he said AI is turning Apple into market loser. Right? So let's look at this article. It said Apple stock is down 50% this year, even as another other big tech firms like Nvidia rally to new all-time highs. Worries about Apple's ability to compete on artificial intelligence, to weather tariffs policy, and to outgrow competitors are piling up. Why it matters? Wall Street's consensus is that the company is behind on artificial intelligence and running short on time to do something about it. Apple needs the AI story because that's what's been rewarded in the market. The chief executive officer of Round Hill Investment tells anxious. Until that changes, I think they are going to be looked at as a loser, he says. Apple has a history of redefining itself. Mazda says, just look at the journey from iPods to iPhones. But the company also takes its time on adoption historically and has largely failed to deliver on its Apple Intelligence promises, disappointing investors at latest Worldwide Development Conference. Apple is at a highway rest stop on a bench watching this fourth industrial revolution race go by at 100 miles an hour than others. That is a Wall Street favorite tech bull. That's what he said. The company is under pressure from a slew of headwinds, including tariff stress, executive departures, and concerns about its peace. So remember, Apple is just incurring a loss because they are losing most of their should I say the employees, some of the finance, because OpenAI is getting them, and most of these the competitors are all poaching them. So it's not a bit surprising. So when you see those kind of news, definitely you know that Apple will be going down, because this morning Apple is down. This year they are down by 15%. So we don't know what is ahead of us. But I think because of what is happening, yeah. So he said Apple needs to acquire Perplexity to significantly boost its AI platform here. If Apple has to pay either 30 billion USD, its drop in the bucket relative to monetization opportunity can achieve AI. Yeah, so that is what mostly people are saying. Because when you look at their fastest growing part is the services. Now, now this accounted for nearly about quarter of its revenue as of September last year. But a weaker dollar will always bow Apple earnings. So with nearly 60% of its revenue generated outside the US, which is around 80 billion cash on its balance sheet. So I think now what mostly people are looking at is the CEO. People want the CEOs wants to get down. Right. Now he says Apple has a 24 to 36 months before it has its own AOR, according to Brian Moby, a client portfolio manager at Zacks Investments. With the cash they have on hand and the loyalty they have, there would have to be something disruptive in the marketplace that would draw away customers. It's not there yet, he says. Yeah, but because see, Apple is still Apple. Definitely, they are not going anywhere. But I think, as this article said, I think they are behind the AI, right? They are behind this artificial intelligence. So the only thing they need now is to get that thing on board. If they get it on board, I think it's going to help. To me, that is what I believe. Because look at Nvidia. Nvidia is way up there, and see, day in day out, Nvidia is always improving on their technology, always improving on their artificial intelligence, and not only Nvidia. Now Nvidia is up there. Look at what OpenAI is doing, poaching one of the some of the most senior and also experienced guys from their competitors. What is it telling you? It is telling you that they would always compete with you guys because you guys find yourself in the same sector or in the same space and they are poaching you guys. You are best employees. So what do you think? Definitely investors are going to drop on you guys. So for me, I think that is the thing they need because for Apple, the loyalty is there. Even if they, let's say they launch uh, a new product now, they are still going to get it, going to get customers for them to buy it. So the only thing they need is the AI side of it. If they are able to sort it out, I don't think Apple would get another should I say another buy down. So yeah, that's what's happening. So let's see if we have much more news. Yes, we would get that news for you guys. So let's start from here. Today is Friday, so it's the market is a bit down, a bit slow, or the news is a bit slow. So you will look at what will be happening. Let's start from this. So the White House is reviewing federal layoffs plans to avoid legal issues after Supreme Court cleared the way for major cuts to government jobs. Officials say they are working fast to downsize agencies while making sure everything complies with the law, including rules on how layoffs happen and minimum staffs. One senior official called downsizing an immediate priority, but didn't give a timeline. The administration expects lawsuits even if they follow the rules. Yeah, so it's definitely going to be the case. Now the State Department. So when you look at them, it what like this is what they want to do. Now they are set to send out about first layoffs notice as soon as Friday this morning, with nearly 2,000 employees on the chopping block since January. Trump pushed to shrink the 2.3 million federal workers or federal workforce led by Elon Musk. And so far, they had already resulted about like 260,000 job cuts through firings, resignations, and early retirement. Now, this include the Department of Agriculture, Commerce, Treasury, Veterans Affairs, and others. They now it affects all these guys. So it's something, and definitely, they are going to get sued. Some of them are going to be sue these government. So we are not surprised this will be happening. Now, Whitbush is also upgrading AMC to outperform neutral, now raising the price target to $4 from $3, which is not bad to me. Again, Morgan Stanley raises the price target of Amazon to $300 from 250. Now, they said they are raising their 2026, 2027 EPS estimate by 9% to 9% over 6% for the lower tariffs with 8% with $8 of 2026 EPS returning as our base case. That's what is happening over there. Intel is expanding out of its AI robotics and biometrics venture, RealSense, with a fresh 50 million US dollars Series AI raised backed by MediaTek Innovation Fund. Now, this RealSense, remember what they do is basically they make these are robotic automation tools. Now they plan to use the funding to expand these product lines, and I think it's good for Intel. So sort of a bit so it's not surprising to me. Amazon is launching an AI agent market next week. Now they are teaming up with Anthropic as a partner. The launch will happen at the AWS Summit in New York City, yeah, on July 15th. This new marketplace will let startup offer AI agent directly into AWS custom. Yeah, so it's good for Amazon, but let me see. So let's take a listen to this audio.
Of Red Cat. So, what does Red Cat do? We design and manufacture drones for the warfighter. We build stuff. And we are here to talk about warp speed. But we're also here to talk about visual navigation that enables our drones to fly on the battlefield when others can't. So this is the Red Cat family of systems. On top there, you'll see the Edge 130. It's a fixed-wing, vertical takeoff and landing drone that's rucksackable, it's portable. It has the longest flight time on the Blue UAS list that you need to be on to sell to defense. Down below that on the left, you'll see the Black Widow. This is the drone that just won a large program of record with the US Army for 14,000 aircraft, one of the largest acquisitions for aircraft for the DoD. And then you'll see the FANG, FPV drones. If you've been listening to anything about Ukraine, you know about FPV. And you're gonna need to make millions.
Okay, so yesterday, the Department of Defense signed, that is US Defense Chief, that is Essex signs order to boost battlefield drone production. And now, for me, OCAT is utilizing warp speed to rapidly accelerate drone manufacturing. So it's also coming back to we making our own stuff, we making our own goods over here. It is good for our cats, which will be under Palantir. So it's bullish for Palantir over there. Now let's look at this chart and see something over here. Let's compare some of the stuffs. Now, MicroStrategy Treasury, consisting almost entirely of Bitcoin worth of 80 billion, is now larger than Meta. Right? So this is a chart. Now it is based on cash and also based on Ethereum. Now or based cash and also Bitcoin. So when you look at this, the cash and Ethereum, the cash and also Bitcoin. Now, when you compare it to Meta, they are more than them. So what is it telling us? The performance is good, right? So for me, it's something Strategy is doing. Strategy is one of the companies that mostly people are investing in, and it's also good because I think it's some of the when you look at some of the stuff,
I think we're going substantially higher from here.
Bitcoin hitting new highs, Matt. Walk us through what you think explains this. Is this correlation to tech stocks, Matt? Is it just continuing enthusiasm from crypto-friendly policies from the White House? What do you chalk it up to? What do you make of it?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I think both of those are a part of the story, but the bigger piece is just massive, unrelenting demand meeting limited supply. We're seeing companies buying huge amounts of Bitcoin and ETFs purchasing huge amounts of Bitcoin. And there's just not that much Bitcoin to go around. I'll mention in the last 30 days, we've seen Bitcoin ETFs acquire $5.2 billion of Bitcoin. That represents institutional investors making a giant allocation to this space. We see that trend continuing. And with the limited supply of Bitcoin, it's just forcing the price up. I think we're detaching from $100,000, and I think we're going substantially higher from here.
When you say substantially higher, Matt, give me some bogeys to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I think once we break the gravity of around $100,000, where we've been trading in and out of for the last 6 months, I think it's sort of anyone's guess where we go. Here at Bitwise, we expect Bitcoin to top $200,000 by the end of the year, which I know sounds like a very large number, but the flows we're seeing from institutional investors and corporations are really significant. They're accelerating, not slowing down, and I think they're going to force that price substantially higher.
Yeah, so that's the CEO of Bitwise, Matt Hagen, and as I was saying earlier, the rate at which institutions are buying Bitcoin, it's up the roof, or it's above the roof. Now, the rate at which even retailers, individual investors are also buying it is also up. So it's definitely getting the demand that they want, right? So definitely, whatever be the case, Bitcoin is going to run on this bull case for a very long time. Again, as Bitwise CIO said, for them, they expect Bitcoin to be around 200K by the end of the year. So it's it's one of the some people are saying 150, some people are saying 200, but the rate at which investors are buying Bitcoin, the rate at which institutions are buying Bitcoin, definitely, I'm not surprised he's saying this, and I will not be surprised if this happens at the end of this year, right? I will not be surprised. Yeah. So when you look at even the charts now, Bitcoin is, when you look at the market cap for Bitcoin is now 2.36 trillion. Now, when you compare it to Amazon market cap is 2.359 trillion. So definitely Bitcoin is ahead of Amazon, but there will be always volatility in this market. So that sometimes maybe it might be that at the end of this, even today or even tomorrow or even a week from today, whenever Bitcoin lays pulls back, definitely you will see that there will be a lot of changes here. But for now, that's what we are seeing. That is what we are seeing over there. So yesterday, the president sent this thing out, sent a letter on Truth Social. So he said tech stocks, in the industrial stocks, and Nasdaq hits all-time record highs. Crypto through the roof. Nvidia is up 47 since Trump tariffs. USA is taking hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs. Country is now back. A great credit. Fed should rapidly lower rate to reflect this strength. USA should be at the top of the list. No inflation. So this is from President Trump on Truth Social yesterday. Yeah, so he tweeted this yesterday. So from the White House, Twitter accounts. That's what he said, of which these are all true. These are all true. But I think he has been calling for rate cuts more than 20 times. I don't know. And Jerome Powell is not even listening to whatever he's saying. Whatever he's saying is that there is an uncertainty in the market of which we need to address it. That is the only thing, that is the only challenge that Jerome Powell is waiting for. If we find a lasting solution to these tariffs, I think he can come back and say, okay, let me cut the rates. That is the only thing Jerome Powell is saying. Yesterday, Tom Lee went on CNBC and he was speaking about Ethereum. They asked him about Ethereum. Let's listen.
I think that there is really a rediscovery of Ethereum that's taking place.
You're going out, you're spending the $250 million to buy Ether, is my understanding, or maybe a little Bitcoin, but mostly Ether.
Yes, it is for Ethereum.
Okay, and so this trades at a huge multiple to the amount of Ether you conceivably could buy with the money that was raised in the pipe.
Yes, I mean, in the press release, there's a sort of a discussion about Ethereum treasury strategies, and to us, there is like a logic to what these companies are trying to do because one, they're actually going to be using whatever relative premium exists to actually use capital markets to grow their Ethereum holdings.
Okay, so meaning what you can add value to the overall holdings that you have through things that can be done in the Ethereum ecosystem.
Yes, as well as like taking advantage of the premium that exists in capital markets activities.
I see.
And of course, I think that there is really a rediscovery of Ethereum that's taking place because Ethereum itself is one of the best performing crypto assets. It's up, annualizing,
right.
It's really taken off recently because the stable coin is the ChatGPT moment for crypto. Circle has blown the doors open. There's a lot of interest now on Wall Street getting involved with Ethereum and building stable coins. That's 30% of Ethereum's network usage today.
Right.
So that is Tom Lee. Um, he said Ethereum is the next big crypto play right here. I've been saying this for some time that okay, so assuming I'm buying these cryptocurrencies, the first thing will be, let's say, will be Bitcoin, right? The next one will be Ethereum. The next one will be Solana. The next one will be either SRP. These are the four maybe I'll be relying on. That is what maybe sometimes if I'm buying it, that is what I would like to hold. Because assuming, let's say, you don't have that much money and you think, okay, uh, Bitcoin is way over. Maybe you were late on Bitcoin. What you can do is you can buy Ethereum, right? Because what I'm seeing, the trend, mostly I see is whenever Bitcoin goes up, Ethereum also goes up most of the times, not all the time, but most of the times. So, for example, early hours of today, around 2 a.m., when Bitcoin rose up to 118K, Ethereum was also around 3,000K or 3K, right? So to me, it's not a big surprise. So they asked Tom Lee about Solana and also Ethereum. He said Ethereum is
But it
better
is a
than
technology
Solana.
in addition to, it's not just like Bitcoin, which is sort of seen as
That's right.
almost a gold. It is a technology. I mean, it could lose market share as well, couldn't it, to the likes of Solana?
That's true, but when you see like the JP Morgan stablecoin, it's being built on Ethereum.
Right.
Robinhood is building their tokenizing business on Ethereum. So as what they call a layer one, Ethereum is like the preferred choice for Wall Street. It already is more than 60% of all the tokenized real world assets, and I think that share is growing. If stablecoins grow to over 2 trillion, as Treasury Secretary Bessent predicts, that's an exponential usage of Ethereum and the Ethereum token. So it's
Okay.
really positive for Ethereum. And incidentally, the Circle trades at around 100 times EBITDA.
But it is a technology
Okay.
in addition
So,
to, it's not just
so
like,
that's Tom Lee for you. What we want to do, uh, we want to do this and also check the trade tariffs on Canada. So this is American dependency on metal imports from, let me see, from the 1970s, right? So this is from U.S. Geological Survey. Now, from the 1970s, this has been what mostly we depend on, or U.S. dependency on metal imports. Now, there is a net import reliance. The percentage of U.S. apparent mineral consumption metals by net imports, indicating dependency on foreign sources. So we have iron, we have zinc, we have silver, we have copper, we have lead. So these are so you see when you look at this chart, it keeps on increasing, like it keeps on. So from even the 1970s, when we were somewhere, the maximum was zinc, which was like 25%. Every year, zinc keeps on increasing. So zinc was 35% in 1980s, a 45% 1990s, now 50% in 2000, 58, 55% in 2010, and 2020s was 60%. Now, when you compare even the zinc to even lead in the 2020s, we've increased it up to 60%, and we keep on increasing this kind of dependence on metal import that mostly we do. So sometimes People don't even understand why the president will even slash 50% or slap 50% tariffs on these kind of metal like the copper, right? Because the copper, the rate at which we depend on copper import from other countries, or like the rate at which we depend on copper. Look at it. So from even the 1970s, it was 5%. 1980s was 15%. 1990s 25. 2000 35. 2010 it was 40%. 2020 it was 45%. So every year, like it keeps on increasing, like keeps on increasing. So we don't know why this is happening, but it's all good because whatever we do here, starting from our phone, starting from our watch, starting from laptops, computers, whatever we use, we use copper in these kind of stuffs. Our cars. So we wait to see what happens. We don't know if we are still going to get this kind of kind of a copper that mostly we need from US. We don't know, but hey, we wait to see. The last one will be the letter that President Trump sent to Canada. I would want us to read it so that some of us would have a better fair idea of whatever is happening. So he said, "Dear Mr. Prime Minister, it is a great honor for me to send you this letter in that it demonstrates the strength and commitment of our trading relationship and the fact that the United States of America has agreed to continue working with Canada, despite Canada having financially retaliated against the United States. As you recall, the United States imposed tariffs on Canada to deal with our nation's fentanyl crisis, which is caused in part by Canada's failure to stop the drugs from pouring into our country. Instead of working with the United States, Canada retaliated with its own tariffs. Starting August 1st, we will charge Canada a tariff of 35% on Canadian products sent into the United States, separate from all sectorial tariffs. Goods transshipped to invade these higher tariffs will be subject to that higher tariffs. As you are aware, there will be no tariffs if Canada or companies within your country decide to build or manufacture products within the United States. In fact, we will do everything possible to get approvals quickly. So I think overview what he wants to say is okay. The reason why he's raising this kind of tariffs is because of the proliferation of fentanyl into our country, US. That is what basically that he's saying. That is the reason why he's giving this 35%. And he's even threatening more tariffs if they try to transship or invade this kind of tariffs. So we don't know what Canada will also do. So we wait to see what Canada does after this as well. Before we go, let's look at the market, do a wrap up of the market, what is happening before we go. Pre market, it's 7:10 Central, 8:10 Eastern. Stock market is green. The Jones is up 0.43%. Nasdaq is up 0.09%. S&P is up 0.27%. Let's look at some of the individual stock if they are still back on level. So far, it's still down 0.18%. Palantir is also down 1.12%. Let me see. Let me check this. Then we move on. I think we can end here after just going through the stocks that I'm looking at, individual stocks. So Tesla is down by 0.23%. It's currently 309. Nvidia is 163. Apple is 211. Amazon is 223, which is the only stock up this morning pre-market. Microsoft is down 499.5. Google is also down 176.74. AMD is down. So mostly most of the stocks are down. So that's where we end our show for this morning pre-market minutes hosted by Wale Yabua. Keep on liking, sharing, and also just subscribe to our channel and give us your honest opinion. We want your feedback, so it would be best if you guys give us your feedback That will help us improve always whatever we do here. Thank you. See you on Monday, pre-market minutes with me, Wale Yabua. See you on Monday. Bye.